Trump just transitioned. Yesterday, he was a tyrant. Today, he's a taco.
Donald Trump just caved, backing down from his fake deadline.
All day today, everyone, most notably the people of Iran, were wondering if their civilization was going to die tonight. Well, good news, it didn't. It was the Taco Tuesday of all Taco Tuesdays.
It's been very obvious for the last few days that the president was looking for an off-ramp.
The taco, Trump always chickens out syndrome.
Okay. So Trump's a war criminal who stopped the war because he's a chicken. I can't follow it. Dems want to give 47 the 25th because he threatened Iran so hard they signed a ceasefire?
We just can't accept a president who is literally promising to destroy an entire civilization, to murder hundreds of thousands of innocent human beings. That alone should be grounds for the removal of this president. But he thinks, I guess, that the threat of mass-scale war crimes has achieved some success.
Senator Chris Murphy said Trump was losing the war and he should stop bombing. So Trump stopped bombing. And Murphy called him crazy for stopping. Again, it makes no sense. I can't tell if the Democratic Party wants war or peace. I just know they want Trump to lose. And they want to lock him up for free speech.
The language there was, a war crime. It threatens war crime. It threatened genocidal-like behavior. It is the kind of language, as I said yesterday, associated with the monsters of history, to wipe out a civilization. That's simply not how presidents speak. That's not how leaders of democracies speak.
He's right. That's not usually how presidents speak. But most presidents don't usually win wars in 38 days. Maybe more presidents should speak like that. We wouldn't have been in Afghanistan for 20 years. Paul Morrow made the point on The Five. You know who really ended the Persian civilization? The mullahs. They had a beautiful thing going on until the Islamic Revolution. The media thinks Trump's the bad guy. And the mullahs, who slaughter protesters and use kids as human shields, they have the moral high ground.
How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise is frankly insulting.
Dana Loesch is a nationally syndicated radio host. Do you understand, Dana? I don't understand what the Democrats want. Do they want us to go hog wild on the mullahs? Do they want us to surrender? Well, what is it?
They don't want whatever Trump wants, and they want whatever Trump doesn't want, if that makes sense to anybody out there watching. That's literally the only measure. That's the only standard of measure, Jesse, that you can use to gauge these loons, what they would favor in terms of a response. I think that he has handled this perfectly. I've had criticisms of his policies before. This ain't one of them. I like the harsh language. We're talking about, Jesse, let's remind everybody really quickly, we're talking about a regime that has brutalized its own people. Thousands of its own people it killed in 3 days. The IRGC, I'm going to be very frank here, quite literally raped the guts out of nurses at the hospital in Tehran for the crime of treating the injuries of the protesters who were injured by the IRGC. They had to have surgery, including hysterectomies and removal of part of their intestines because their injuries were so horrific. This is what we're talking about. People who wanted to hunt down our pilots, people who have murdered thousands of Americans, who kicked all of this off in 1979 by taking Americans hostage. As far as I'm concerned, there is no strong language that can be used. There's no strong enough language that can be used. My preference is the language of fire. So I think that the way that the president is handling this is a hell of a lot more measured than what I would have done, and probably what some rational Americans with more than 2 brain cells to rub together would have preferred.
Yeah, I mean, this is just how we talk. I'm sorry, Libs. I'm sorry. The MSNBC host, I forget his name, he's mad that Pete Hegseth said, "Leave no man behind." Listen.
We leave no man behind. That is, of course, the old school version of the idea back when only men flew American military planes. General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, put it this way.
We leave no one behind.
The general knows, unlike Pete Hegseth, that could have been a woman they were trying to rescue, and it might be a woman the next time.
It's like we're winning wars and they're like speech policing. Is this serious?
I'm trying to figure out this confusing this non-birthing broadcast person. Isn't that the language that they prefer?
Yes.
Why are they even saying woman? Because they can't even define it. What are rescuers supposed to do? What are our soldiers supposed to do? Yell down in the crevasse? Before we rescue you, can you tell us your preferred pronouns, sir or ma'am? I mean, what is the purpose of this? Is that not a big sign that we've already won this?
The call numbers were Bravo 44. Dude, right? Dude 44, Bravo. I mean, I don't think it's a woman. It's Dude 44.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's not a woman. And I'm pretty sure that broadcast person O'Donnell over at Ms. Now or whatever tampon commercial sounding network they've named themselves after, I'm pretty sure that that's the last thing on these soldiers' minds.
So the new thing they want to do is they want a 25th Amendment, the President of the United States. During wartime, they've already tried impeachment twice. Is this like just barking up the wrong tree, or why are they doing this?
It is, despite the fact that it was Steve Bannon, best friend of Jeffrey Epstein's, greatest wish to use the 25th Amendment to try to undermine a free and fair election and go after the rightfully elected president of the United States. But no, it's just a progressive pipe dream. It's idiotic. It's polluting the Constitution and abusing power. What are they going to do when another Republican wins the White House in the future? The left needs to recalibrate and get it together, because the only people on this planet that are crazier than they are right now is the Mullah regime over in Iran. I mean, in fact, they're pretty much two peas in the same pot at this point. I can't tell who's crazier.
Well, there is the gay Ayatollah, so allyship. We know
the one-legged gay Ayatollah.
That's right. Severely disfigured. Not that we're feasting on his wounds or anything.
No, not at all.
You know, not the
not
nice.
At all.
He does not have
him.
the moral high ground. Let's just put it that way. Dana, great to see you as always. Thank you so much. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.